So I told myself that I was going to be a reader this year, more than I have in the past. And even though I know that I've read a couple books on my page so far, I did kind of want to get into, I just feel like I should walk you through this book that I'm currently reading. Now, a lot of people would say that this is a children's book, but once I get into the insert, I think that you'll really understand why I think that we needed to share this one. So this book is called Trying by Kobi Yamada, illustrated by Elise Hurst. And this author apparently writes books for everyone, not just for children, even though it is a short book. How will you know what is possible if you don't try? It is a story for anyone who has ever felt like a beginner, or had doubts, or worried that they weren't good enough. It's a story for those who have experienced the pain of trying something new and not having it turn out as they had hoped. So in many ways, it is a story for every one of us, because at some point in our lives, we will all fail. Failure can be disappointing and even heartbreaking, but the story doesn't end there, because failure has so much more to offer. It is a necessary step to learning, to growing, to getting better. It can show us how badly we want something and how hard we are willing to work to get it. It challenges us to be brave, to take heart, and to try again. And yes, there will be times when you'll question yourself. You may want to give up, but if you believe, if you practice and press on, you can do amazing things. So trying. Beautiful illustration. How do you do that? I didn't realize that I had said it out loud, but the sculptor simply looked over and replied, "You simply do it." "Oh no, I could never do that." "How do you know?" he asked. "I just know." Confused, I walked away. He must be joking, I thought. But as I left, I couldn't help but wonder what it would be like to create something so incredible. When I returned, the sculptor looked over at me and asked, "How is your sculpture coming along?" "Oh, I'm just here to watch." "The best way to give your talents an opportunity is to try," he responded. "I'd rather just watch. I can't mess things up if I just watch." "Ah, yes," he nodded. "If you do nothing, it feels safe, but everything stays the same. If you do nothing, there is less to experience, less to love, and less to learn. The fear of failing is the scariest part, and it stops most people from starting. The only way to get to where you want to go is to take a step in that direction, and the best way to do that is to begin." Did I skip a page? I did not. It was all I could think about. Even as I slept, I dreamt of creating things. I was excited to get started, but as I was working, I realized that something was wrong. With every strike, I felt a little bit more deflated. With every blow, my disappointment grew. This was not turning out the way I had imagined. Why did I think I could do it? Why had I let myself care about this so much? The next time I saw the sculptor, he asked about my work. I told him it was no good and that I had quit. "Why would you do that?" he asked. "Because it feels awful to want something so badly and just be disappointed." "Yes," the sculptor replied. "Disappointment hurts, but failure is temporary, and in many ways necessary. It shows us how something can't be done, which means we are a little closer to finding out how it can. When you first tried to walk, you fell, but you picked yourself up and tried again. You were willing to fail over and over and over, and that's why you succeeded. How do I know this? You're standing in front of me right now." I had tried, and I had failed. Now he was asking me to try again. What good would that do? I had already proven I couldn't do it. But if I was honest, I wanted to believe I could. So even though I worried that I wasn't good enough, I decided to try again. I worked and worked, then worked some more. And while I could see it was a little better, it still wasn't at all what I wanted it to be. I stormed up to the sculptor. See? I told you I wasn't any good, and this proves it. Are you happy now? Yes, he replied. I'm happy. It's good to see you sculpting. But it's terrible. I don't even know what I'm making anymore. You're making progress, he explained. I see talents emerging. I see risks being taken. I see courage. I see caring. I see perseverance. Yes, I see much progress indeed, and I hope you will keep trying. I tried again, and again, and again. As I stepped back and looked at my work, I had to admit, I wished I was better. I went to talk to the sculptor, and he asked me to go for a walk with him. He said, I know it can be hard when things don't turn out as you had hoped, but be proud of your failures. I know I am. Every one of them. I can't imagine you ever failing. He laughed. More times than I can count, but each time you fail, you get a little bit smarter, a little braver, a little stronger. The truth is, we are all failures. The dreamers, the doers, the creators. Being a failure means you love something. Being a failure means you love something. You cared. It means you stepped forward. You didn't hold back. You tried. That is why I brought you here, he gestured to the statues around him. These are my friends. These are my failures. And I'm grateful for every one of them because they helped me become who I am today. I will tell you a secret, the sculptor confided. I am now much closer to the end of my life than the beginning, and time passes whether we have the courage to do something good and worthwhile or we don't. It's been years since he's been gone. I will always treasure the time I spent with him, and I will never forget our conversations or what he taught me. When we make it safe to fail, we make it safe to succeed. How do I do that? The cycle continues. This was a short one, but this one was one that I needed to hear. Because I know that even for myself, I've been living a little scared. I've been living a little cautiously. And I know that in reality, I need to be living a little bit more boldly and creating the things that the Father has put in my heart to do. And because I call myself a perfectionist of sorts, it puts me in a paralysis, which keeps me from ever performing to the extent that I want to. How can I be perfect if I've never even put my hand to the task that is asked of me? How can I call myself a failure? The only way, let me rephrase that. The only way that I can truly be considered a failure is to never actually do anything in the line of things that I want and need to do in order to create success. And I want to leave off of this quick video mentioning a scripture that was brought to my attention the other day of Proverbs 16, verse 20. And essentially it was saying that anyone who takes heed to the instructions prospers, and blessed are they who trust in the Lord. And that verse seemed to eat me up in the moment that I read it. And I mean, I would definitely recommend you to go to look it up for yourself, because, you know, I could always misquote things. The gist and the premise are exactly as it should be. The message is still the same. Sometimes we get an instruction, we get a call, we get inspiration to do something. If we take heed to it, we make it come to fruition, it becomes something that may make us literal physical money, or it may make us rich in other elements of life, make us rich in spirit, make us rich in like understanding, make us rich in wisdom and life experience that we can take forth and use it to counsel and to gather and to improve the lives of not only ourselves but with others. But if we never take heed to that instruction, we're never obviously able to prosper, but we're never able to be free, because we are held in captivity by the negative thoughts that we hold and the negative beliefs that put a cap on how far we can actually acquire all the riches of life. Blessed are they who trust in the Lord. If you trust in the Lord, you trust in Him more than you trust in your own doubts. Don't let your inner me become your biggest enemy. I can't take credit for that one. A sister of mine said that to me yesterday, but I know that sometimes I let my inner me become my inner enemy and is an enemy against my successes. So let the Father's strength and the Father's presence in your life be stronger than any of your doubts.